On this regional rendition of UTR, we head up and into Michigan's mighty thumb. We'll see some precious petroglyphs, urban barn art, wait, what? And eat some colossal cones. Heck, we'll even spend time with a historic fishing family and a craft beer couple. Get ready to explore the cool people, places, and things that give this part of Michigan a big thumbs up.
Along the way is where we find the unexpected. Along the way is where we take in the scenery, and often where we have the most fun. Sure, along the way can be the place we stop to fill up or grab a bite to eat. But in Michigan, along the way becomes the place we've been longing for. Because enjoying the journey is always pure Michigan. Your trip begins at michigan.org.
There's something special about the pride, the skill, and the passion it takes to build something great. The Construction Association of Michigan, CAM, understands that passion and has been providing contractors with the resources they need since 1885. A visit to the Stahls Automotive Museum will take you back to a time when cars were more than just a way to get around. In addition to beautiful cars, enjoy the collection of gas pumps, road signs, oil cans, and other car-related accessories. Info at stahlsauto.com.
I've been around the world, but there's one place I keep coming back to. And the more I explore, the more I realize it's the place to be. I'm Tom Dalton, and this is Under the Radar, Michigan.
Now, what do you get when you do an episode about Michigan's thumb and the host of the show's name is Tom? Haha, you know where I'm going with this, don't you?
That's right. You call it Tom Thumb. Only this isn't a fairy tale about some tiny Tom running around England in the 1600s. This is a TV show about a regular-sized Tom showing you cool people, places, and things all around Michigan. Only this time, we're going to have a ton of fun in the thumb.
This is a part of our great state you really need to see. From its beautiful and bountiful beaches and braggable, boatable places to its quaint little towns and wide open spaces, it's an area that's just itching to be explored.
And we're just the guys to scratch it for you, so to speak.
So get ready to stick in your thumb and pull out an adventure, 'cause thumb, here we come. The thumb of Michigan's magnificent mitten is located, well, just look at your right palm. There, see your thumb? There you go. So our adventure began as we happily headed up M53 in search of a thumbtastic time. And it wasn't long before we made our first stop, the Sanilac Petroglyphs Historic State Park. That's right, not only does this incredible park have beautiful trails for you to traverse, it has Michigan's only known Native American rock carvings, and they're preserved right here for all of us to marvel at.
Now, when you come to the park, remember this entire place is pretty much sacred, and these carvings demand your respect. I mean, after all, they really are Michigan's first recorded history.
To make sure I truly understood the significance of this incredible place, I spent some time with a Native American historian and actual elder, Judy Pam.
You know, quite honestly, these petroglyphs have been on my bucket list, my Michigan bucket list, for probably 10 years. So thanks for making my bucket lighter.
All right.
When were these discovered?
Oh, discovered. I mean, the markings and the petroglyphs have been here for many generations. My teachings, I came here as a young child with elders that were in their 80s, 70s and that. And they talked about them coming here as a child with their parents and grandparents, and that their grandparents talked about coming here. So this has been a spiritual site of ours, the Anishinaabe people, that continues to be used. And like I said, if you want to talk scientific, they're saying this is probably around 1,400 years old and that. So it's been here guiding us for that period of time.
Now, for people who don't know what a petroglyph is, they're actual carvings in the stone. But from what I understand, it's not just art, these are actual teachings?
Yes. Our language, our Anishinaabe language is very different from English. And so our writing system is very different because we believe that we will have something that will trigger somebody's memory, but it's the mentorship and the human interaction that is just as important as the actual content and teaching that you're giving. So It's purposely set up this way so that you are mentoring beside somebody. And I find it amazing because now here I am that elder. And now I'm the one that's sharing the teachings and how we visit it here and how we've used the spiritual site of our Anishinaabe people.
So this has been used for centuries to teach.
Yeah, this is where I, during my childhood, learned to see the world as an Anishinaabe, how everything in life is sacred, all things are connected. You know, what we do affects everything. And so those teachings came from those visits here.
Do you know what some of these carvings mean?
Yes, and one of my favorite ones is actually over here in the corner, and it's in English you would say it's the archer. And it actually talks the importance of that knowledge transference. So we are taught that we are spiritual beings having this physical life experience. And from the moment we take our first breath to the last, we are on that path of knowledge. And so on that path of knowledge, we also need to remember that we are both learner and teachers. So just like these ancestors that carved this here are still guiding us, we need to make sure we're guiding others, and that's our responsibility.
So what does this mean to you personally to have this site here?
I'm thankful that our ancestors thought of us, and it reminds us that we need to remember to be the voice for those in the future. That when we're making decisions today, we have to think 7 generations ahead. How are our way we're living going to impact them? But when I say impact them, how's it going to impact the plants? How's it going to impact the water, the air, all living creatures, not just mankind? So this is a constant reminder of that responsibility. We need to take our decision level to that level.
I want to join your tribe. I really do.
Come visit us anytime.
I'm telling you, this really is a fascinating place to reflect and respect the history of our Native Americans. If you get a chance, explore more about their incredible culture. And be sure to explore these precious carvings at the Sanilac Petroglyphs Historic State Park. It's just another one of the many gems that we have that make Michigan such a great place to be.
What happens when you take a bunch of awesome urban artists, send them up into the thumb, and put them down on the farm? You get art that's rural, surreal, and real cool.
It's simply called the Barn Project, and art lovers from all over are finding it. Now, what's the Barn Project, you ask? Well, it's simply an artistic effort to reimagine these iconic and often crumbling structures. You'll find these interesting installations at the northern tip of the thumb in and around the popular beach town of Port Austin. It's here where city art and country culture collide. We found out about this progressive project from longtime friend and art activist Jim Boyle, who helped make it all happen. And he told us exactly who to get a hold of to find out more. Katie Newell is a professor of architecture at U of M, and her awesome art is turning this barn into a beautiful beacon on the landscape. And Carl Osentowski is with Huron County, and totally happy this art is here.
Okay, I know this is a totally loaded question, but whose crazy creative concept was this?
Part of it was to look at Marfa, Texas. It was actually the inspiration for what we're doing up here. And to use buildings that were in disrepair and create art out of it.
Now, Katie, what's the concept of your barn that you're doing here, that we're sitting inside of, by the way?
Yeah. The big approach is that it's meant to actually highlight the enormous sky that's around it. So I have cut a very large slice through the barn, one that actually architecturally and physically can't happen without some restructuring of the barn, but allows for a light to literally cut through the barn, making it, in essence, it's become 2 barns, sort of folded in itself, and you can walk through this passage. But it's constantly changing throughout the different times of day, and even at night it gets illuminated to sort of do the opposite light effect.
And what's the name of yours?
It's called Secret Sky.
It's not a secret anymore, we found it.
No, it's not, it's out.
So has this built bridges in the community? I mean, do people get it, what's happening?
Sometimes, sometimes not, because it's a very challenging idea, is to take an old barn and to repurpose it, essentially to save it, because otherwise it would collapse on itself. The first barn was very controversial Second barn was less, and this one is even less. I mean, I think people, as they move through the process and have looked at the installations, have gotten it.
Now, there are currently 3, but you hope to eventually have 10.
10.
Now, talk about the other 2 that we're not in right now.
The first one that we did was by the Hygienic Dress Lake. It's 2 murals on the side of the barn. And the second one that we did was by Scott Hocking, and he literally dismantled the barn and put it back together as a boat, an ark.
Well, these are big projects to take on. I mean, you amaze me, because earlier I was watching you crawl around in this barn and climb to the top, and this is something, I mean, thank goodness you're an architect. You're an expert at this, because I wouldn't even know where to begin.
I'd have to say it has changed as an architect, it has also changed my relationship to buildings in the way I see them as objects and how we can hand make them, or not areas where we hand make them, and that sort of thing.
Well, I think this is such a tremendous concept. I mean, I actually get it, which is tough for me, but I think it's a great thing for this area, this part of Michigan, to have something this unique and to bring this kind of art up here, and folks like you that are truly talented. I mean, kudos.
If you're one of those people who need an awesome, unusual, artistic, and thought-provoking reason to visit a region, come to the Port Austin area, because these urban/rural art installations are right up your artful alley. Heck, they're even cool to see if you have no reason at all.
You know, they say never eat anything larger than your head. But when ice cream's involved, all bets are pretty much off.
And that's because just a quarry stone's throw east of Port Austin is a little town where ice cream reigns supreme. The Grindstone General Store is located, strangely enough, in the historic town of Grindstone City. Now, years ago, this tiny town was home to a quarry that produced some of the biggest grindstones in the world. Now it's home to a store that scoops up colossal cones filled with heaping helpings of head-freezing fun. Yep, the scoops they serve here are something to behold. Well, I guess word got out that my sweet tooth was in town, because when we pulled up, we were greeted by tons of the nicest ice cream eating folks you'll find anywhere. Heck, they were even sweeter than the ice cream. Now, Brian Franson is the Scoop Master General who distributes such sensational servings, and his generosity is second only to his love for this great tiny town.
You know, you got one heck of a great thing going here.
It's a phenomenon, it really is. There's been 7 of us that have owned the general store in 130 years, and each owner brings something to the store.
Yeah.
And it's really the people. We get customers that'll come in. They were brought here by their parents. Those people were brought by their grandparents. I mean, it's just generational.
Well, speaking of going back generations, I mean, this town originally was a huge quarry, wasn't it? They did grindstones here?
Well, long story, but Captain Pier was a ship's captain, and he had a storm and anchored in the Grindstone Harbor. And he had no way to make tools to repair his ship. So he came on land and found this stone hard enough to form a tool. And he repaired his ship, sailed away, and a few years after that came back and bought 400 acres and started mining the grindstone.
This is just my way of tricking you into explaining to me what a grindstone was, so thank you very much. Yeah, but you're right. Your place really is a phenomenon here. People come from pretty far, don't they?
We have people that come. We had actually had a family that when they saw that you guys were coming, they live in Ohio, and they watch you on PBS Toledo, and he says, I just made reservations at the Beachcomber Hotel in Port Austin for Thursday and Friday, so I can come up for the event.
That's amazing. Well,
so they drove up Ohio for an ice cream and to be here.
We're doing good work, aren't we?
You're doing excellent work.
I know you too, I mean. Okay, now getting back to the size of the cones here, what inspired you to make the most ginormous cones on the planet? I mean, Eric brought his family here, and that's all he talked about for a month.
Actually, that was my predecessors. Trudy Perdue was the owner in 1950. She started out making a larger size cone. There was no other draw in Grindstone City after the quarry ceased to exist. So she started doing larger scoops to draw people to come in. And it went from owner to owner.
Because when we first got here, I read on the internet and I heard that they were large, but when we got here, I was shocked when I saw people coming out the door. I'm like, are you going to eat all that?
Yes, and they do.
But it's ice cream.
Everybody loves ice cream.
Well, enough talking to a grown-up about these tremendously tall, taste-tempting treats. Time for Tom to converse with some kids.
You scream, I scream, we all scream for ice cream! Okay, Eric, buy them ice cream. I understand you don't like ice cream. Is that true?
Yes.
What do you like?
Popcorn.
Well, popcorn. All right, yeah, you gotta give them that much. You know, they say never eat anything bigger than your head. Did you have an ice cream cone today?
Yes.
Was it bigger than your head?
Yes.
Where's your mother? I want to talk to her. Mom? Oh, it's not her fault. She couldn't help it. Hers is probably pretty big, too. So what's your favorite flavor?
Blue Moon.
Blimmin'? What's blimmin'?
Blue Moon.
Oh, Blue Moon. What's your favorite flavor? You don't have a favorite? You like all ice cream? Really?
Yes.
Do you like chicken flavor?
No.
No?
There's no such thing as chicken flavor.
Chunky barbecue?
No. There's no such thing as chunky barbecue.
Noodles and cheese?
Yes.
Do they have noodles and cheese here? I hate to interrupt you, sir, but I know, is your favorite flavor, let me guess, Blue Moon?
No.
Would somebody get this guy some ice cream? I feel bad. I knelt down because you're shorter than me, and then you knelt down, and now I have to sit down. Now what are you gonna do?
Sit down too.
Darn it. So I understand you had your very first ice cream ever when you were 11 months old here.
Yes.
Do you remember what flavor it was?
Black cherry.
You remember that too? Can you balance my checkbook? You know, they should serve an ice cream that's the same color as your shirt. What would they call it?
I don't know.
That's a great name.
So if you're ever near the tip of Michigan's thumb, stop by the Grindstone General Store in Grindstone City, because they've got an epic case of brain freeze waiting for you.
But don't worry, it'll eventually thaw out. Oh. Oh, not again! No! Oh!
The next part of our thumbtastic adventure took us way west to the coastal community of Bayport, a part of Michigan none of us had actually even ever been to before.
This is a quaint little bayside town that's got a big history, and that's because it's home to the Bayport Fish Company. See? It says so right there.
They were established in 1895, and they're the oldest continually operating commercial fishery on the Great Lakes. This is also a proud family-owned business that works hard all season long to bring fresh fish to a market near you. Now, when you pull into this place, you'll instantly feel like you were born on the bayou. It's as authentic as they come, and Michigan's own lakeside slice of Louisiana. So to get a real feel for this family fishery, I spoke with father fisherman himself, Todd Williams.
How long have you been fishing these waters?
We've been here 41 years. This is the 41st year.
Well, I gotta tell you, this place is so much more authentic than I thought it was gonna be. This is like you're down on the bayou or something.
Yeah, it's pretty similar, I guess.
If you could, walk me through the process. Take me through a normal day. You guys get on the boat at 0 o'clock in the morning, you head out, and how does the day go from there?
Well, we lift all the nets, depending on how many fish, we're getting.
What's a good catch in one net?
Probably a ton, 3,000 pounds would be a real good catch this time of year.
And you throw the fish down in those hatches and there's ice down there?
Yeah, ice and water, we make it like a slurry, so it's super chills them quick.
Like a fish slushy?
A fish slushy, you got it.
Well, this is a tough way to make a living. I mean, you guys work hard. You must either love it or you really love fish.
A little of both, I guess.
Yeah. What's the most rewarding part for you?
Oh, I don't know. It's kind of like going to church, You get up early and you see the sun come up and just view the beauty of nature,
You guys head out like 5 in the morning or something?
Yeah, usually, depending on the time of year, but yeah.
Out there all day?
Pretty much, yeah. 8-hour day. And then the old adage, you catch them, you clean them, so when we get back in, then we got to process them and pack them.
So what kind of fish you out there catching?
Well, right now our main fish is whitefish, but we catch yellow perch, catfish, silver bass, white perch, and then we catch a lot of walleye and lake trout we have to throw back because we're not allowed to take them.
Now, who's buying your fish? I saw people come in here because you smoke fish here, right?
We smoke fish and we sell fresh fish also in various forms. You know, you can buy the whole fish, you can buy the fillets or just dressed, cleaned up.
Why is whitefish so good? Because I was just talking to the guys in there who were working them nets, and they just say it's the best eaten fish out there.
Well, it's a real mild fish, for one thing. Well, you can bake it, broil it, fry it, make dip out of it, make a chowder out of it, put it on the grill. So it's real versatile.
So one last question. Do you like fish?
I do.
Good thing. I was afraid he's going to say he doesn't like fish.
Todd's daughter Lakin and the whole crew here made us feel like we were, well, the catch of the day. Not only did they fry up a mess of fabulous whitefish for us, with all the sides, they even sent us packing with enough fresh fish and fixins to feed our families for a fortnight. I'm telling you, these are some of the nicest and hardest working folks you'll find on the Great Lakes. And what they taught us about their profession made us glad all we have to do is make a TV show. They put their back, their front, and even their sides into what they do every day. And also, you and I can have something other than burgers and stuff that tastes like chicken to eat.
And Todd even made me one of his patented fish head slurries. Oh.
Well, after a fulfilling and fishful adventure in Bayport, we were finally headed for home. When suddenly, it happened. We all got struck with a sudden need for a frosty, cold adult malted beverage. So, we pulled into Sandusky. Wait, Sandusky?
Now, don't worry, we're not in Sandusky, Ohio, although I'm sure it's a very nice town. They've got Cedar Point, Lake Erie, and some other nice stuff. But there's one thing we got they ain't got, and that's Elk Street Brewery. Oh, yeah.
And that's because it's right here in Sandusky, Michigan. A great walkable town with a very cool main street and tons of friendly folks. If you've never been here before, you'll find this a great place to explore. It's a classic slice of Americana you'll want to spend some time in. Anyway, getting back to the beer, Ron and Ann Hazenbush had a last name that sounded kind of like a beer, so they thought, why not open a brewery and restaurant? Well, actually, that's not what really happened, so I thought I'd better ask them.
Now, I understand this whole crazy, wonderful thing started when you bought him a home brewing kit in college?
Right. We were attending Western in Kalamazoo. And
Go Broncos?
Yeah, go Broncos. And yeah, Ron seemed to have a problem with drinking certain commercial beers. He's allergic to rice. So as a Christmas present, I went out. He kept talking about this little home brew shop. So I found it downtown Kalamazoo and went in and bought him the beer kit and gave it to him for Christmas and kind of went from there.
That's when you realized it was a gateway activity.
It was a gateway activity,
and it led to
pretty
this.
much.
It kind of grew incrementally over the years.
It did. We built a garage, but nobody was allowed to park in it. It was the brewery at our house.
All great
So.
businesses start in garages.
They do,
I
you're
always
right.
say.
Yes.
Now, Ron, I understand that when you bought the building, it actually spoke to you. Were you drinking that day, or?
Well, it speaks to you in different ways. When I looked at it, I could see what I wanted it to turn into. And it required completely tearing everything out and rebuilding it from front to back, top to bottom.
Old building?
It was a very old building. It's built around 1900. It had a lot of good charm to it.
I was going to compliment you because, I mean, the building has its own natural charm and beauty, but what you've done, what you've added to it is, I mean, awesome. The atmosphere that you've created in here is very cool.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Ron, what's your philosophy? Because every brewer has a different philosophy and a different approach to making beer. What's yours?
Well, I mean, basically, the brewery is a business. So I have to brew beer that the people in my community enjoy. And around here, it's very drinkable beers, a lot of fruit beers.
That's a smart business plan. Give the people what they want, as opposed to what you want, right?
It does help.
The crew and I met tons of friendly Mug Club members and gave the food and beer at Elk Street Brewery a big thumbs up. And speaking of thumbs, next time you're looking for an appendage to peruse, try a thumb. And if you're looking for a particular thumb, try Michigan's. Because you won't find a better place to live, work, play, or stay in the entire US of A. Or my name ain't Tom Thumb. Oh, excuse me. Hello.
Oh, Thumbelina, hi. How are you? Yeah. No, I wasn't playing favorites. Yes, I know Thumb is in your name too. Yeah, okay. No, don't be like that. Oh boy.
We all have one, that perfect spot, a special place we go to smooth out the ripples of the day. Our perfect spot is calling. Our perfect spot is Pure Michigan. Your trip begins at michigan.org.
There's something special about the pride, the skill, and the passion it takes to build something great. The Construction Association of Michigan, CAM, understands that passion and has been providing contractors with the resources they need since 1885. A visit to the Stahls Automotive Museum will take you back to a time when cars were more than just a way to get around. In addition to beautiful cars, enjoy the collection of gas pumps, road signs, oil cans, and other car-related accessories. Info at stahlsauto.com.